Hi everyone, welcome to our next episode on Unconditional Self Acceptance. We've already covered what core beliefs are, we've looked at what labeling is and how we label and damn ourselves, and we label and judge other people. And in today's class, we're gonna dig deep into more of your core beliefs. We're gonna give you the tools and the techniques to help free yourself of your core beliefs, and when you do, you're gonna feel a lot better. So let's get stuck in. Learning to accept yourself as a valuable and worthwhile human being, in spite of all the good things and the bad things in your life, is one of the best things that you can do. Let's start today's class with a quick recap. In the last class, we covered something called conditional self-acceptance. That means we only accept ourselves when we achieve our objectives, when life is going how we want. When things aren't going how we want, maybe our relationships aren't going well, our finances aren't going well, maybe our career isn't going well, then we judge ourselves. This is what we call conditional self-acceptance. We only love ourselves when we meet certain conditions. And when we do judge ourselves, what we do is we label ourselves. Generally speaking, those self-judgments are something like, I am useless, I am no good, I'm not good enough, I'm unlovable, I'm unlikable. They're very simple commands, very simple core messages. So when we don't meet our expectations or life doesn't go how we want it to, sometimes we can judge ourselves, and also we can judge other people when they don't meet our expectations. So here's the big question. How can we shift ourselves from conditional self-acceptance to unconditional self-acceptance? How can we go on that journey? So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to blow a few holes in those rigid, self-damning, judgmental beliefs that you have about yourself. Because here's the good news, they're not true, or at least they're not totally true. And we're going to use the tools and techniques we've already used in previous videos to help smash these beliefs apart. So let's go through our first few questions. Now make sure that you've got your core belief, that judgment about yourself. In this example, let's use the belief, let's say I am a failure. It could be any belief that you have. Now the first question to ask yourself is it true? What evidence have you got? I'm sure you've got a few bits of evidence to prove that you are a failure or whatever your core belief is. A lot of the time we collect those bits of information throughout our life. But what we also do is we ignore information that proves that our core belief isn't true. So here's the question. What evidence have you got that would prove that your core belief isn't totally true? If my core belief is I'm a failure, have there ever been any times where I haven't failed? And the answer is sure. Maybe I got some good grades at school. Maybe I had a good job once. Maybe I have been successful financially. Maybe I have been successful in sport or some other hobby of mine. The point is, what we're looking for is there any evidence to prove that your core belief isn't totally 100% true? That's the secret. Even if we can just find one small bit of evidence, it proves that belief isn't totally true. When we label ourselves, when we say I'm a failure or I am not good enough, it is a universal judgment. We're basically saying this is true in all situations, all the time. It's like a judgment that just sticks. Now the truth is, as a human being, you are complex. In many respects, it's very difficult to judge yourself as a thing because we're always evolving, we're always changing. And what happened in the past doesn't necessarily mean it's going to happen in the future. But can you know for sure that that judgment about yourself is totally true? If you were in a court of law and you wanted to tell everyone, hey, I'm a failure, would that really stand up in a court of law? Would everyone agree with you? Or would they say, hey, wait a minute, that's not totally true? If you told your friends and family and loved ones and said, hey, I'm a failure, what do you think about that? They'd probably give you plenty of reasons why it's not true. Do the same thing with your core belief. What evidence have you got that proves that it's not totally true? Now here's the next thing we do. We generalize, and I'm going to talk about that more in the videos coming up, but sure, I might have failed once or twice or 3 or 4 times. I might have failed 10 times. But does that mean I'm a total failure? You see, I take a few examples and I cherry pick the information. That's what we do. right? Human beings, we like to cherry pick the information to support what we believe. So I'm not saying that you don't have some good evidence to support your claim. I might have some evidence that I have failed. Does that mean that I'm a total failure? If I had a core belief that I'm useless, maybe there have been some situations that didn't work how I wanted them to. But does that mean that I'm totally useless? We take a few things and we generalize that to a global judgment, a global label of yourself. And it's just not true. At best, there have been a few examples where I might have failed, or there might have been a few examples where I fell below my expectations, but then we do the cognitive jump and we turn that into, hey, this is true about me forever. So as I said, human beings are complex, right? We've done some good things, we've done some bad things, we've been successful, we haven't been successful, sometimes we have a rough ride, sometimes we have a few years of difficult times, but that doesn't mean we're totally our self-judgment. It doesn't mean we're a total failure. And that's the thing, we are very complex, but when we judge ourselves, we think we know all the information. We think we know everything there is to know about us. And we give ourselves the final label. And again, it's impossible to say we're one thing or the other. Now, I just want to be clear. This isn't positive thinking, right? I'm not teaching you to say, hey, look, I'm really good. I've got it going on. Like, I'm really successful. That's positive thinking. Now, you can think that if you want, but in the back of your mind, you're always going to have the fear, well, look, maybe that's not true. Maybe I'm not that person. You're always going to have the fear there with positive thinking. I'm not teaching you positive thinking. I'm teaching you how to be realistic. And what we're saying is it's easier to debunk what you believe. And the way that we debunk it is by looking at the facts. The facts tell us that what you believe isn't totally true. Now that's pretty easy for us to prove, and it should be easy for you to prove as well if you practice the tools and techniques that I'm giving you. We're looking to introduce that element of doubt, but at the same time, that is very different to positive thinking. And positive thinking's cool, we can all do it, but firstly, it's important to debunk the negative and to prove that those doubts you have, they're not totally true. And you know what happens when you question your negative beliefs and you introduce the element of doubt? They disappear, they're gone, or at least they reduce a lot. Now, the world of doing and being is very different. For example, you might do a stupid thing. I might do a stupid thing. But does that make me a totally stupid person? The answer is no, because can I really be defined by one thing that I've done? Because throughout my life, I will have done thousands of things, good things, bad things, stupid things, smart things. It's impossible to judge me as a person, as a whole in my entirety. And what ancient philosophy teaches us, we might not like the action, we might be able to judge our actions, but can we really globally judge ourselves as a whole, as a person? Do the two really fit together? And the answer is no. You can do a stupid thing, but it doesn't mean that you're a totally stupid person. You can do a bad thing. Does it mean that you're a totally bad person? As human beings, we are beyond total judgment, total labeling. So, what is the truth? The truth is, we do make mistakes. Human beings, we want to be perfect. We want to have that perfect image. We want to have the perfect success. We want to get it all right. But the truth is that we do make mistakes. We don't get it right all the time. And what does that mean? That means that we are fallible. Now, you might not have heard that word before. Fallibility. To be fallible means we're not perfect. If I make a mistake, yeah, I'm a fallible human being. If I don't get that job, yes, I'm a fallible human being. If my relationship fails, yes, I'm a fallible human being. I make mistakes. I don't get it right all the time. It's okay not to get things right all the time. It's okay to make mistakes. Now, what's close to the truth? If I fail, one, it means I'm a failure, or two, it means I'm a fallible human being who makes mistakes sometimes. What's close to the truth? Close to the truth is I am fallible. I'm not going to get it right all the time. Sometimes I have been successful and sometimes I haven't. So that is close to the truth. I'm a fallible human being. And that's where we want to get to help you see that that universal global label you have about yourself isn't totally true. And what's close to the truth is that you're a fallible human being, just like the rest of us. Our failures, our shortcomings don't mean there's something wrong with us as a person. And it's when we label ourselves as one thing or the other, that inner critic of ours, where we really struggle. Now, what I believe and what we teach is that human beings have value and worth. Regardless of whether things are going well or not, you have value or worth as a human being. You're a fallible human being who gets things right and who gets things wrong. But just because you mess up out there doesn't mean that you are a totally bad person, because, as I said in the video, you are a complex human being who has done good things and bad things throughout your life. You've been successful and you have failed at other things. Things have worked and other things haven't. It doesn't mean, and it's impossible to judge yourself in your totality. It's just not possible to do that. The more you look, the more you can see. Even some of the most difficult people have been, maybe they've been a father, maybe they've been a son, maybe they have been a husband, maybe they have loved, maybe they have lost, maybe they've overcome adversity. It's difficult for us to put people in boxes and judge them, and it's difficult for us to judge ourselves. Okay, so let's wrap it up now. Hopefully you can begin to see that when we begin to question these beliefs, we can see that they're not totally true. They're not true, and they're not helpful either. And the more you do this, the more you learn to question your beliefs, the better you're going to get at weakening them and not believing them anymore. So it takes a while to shift your core beliefs, and it's something that's going to be happening more and more as we go on. But begin questioning them now, begin asking the questions, and you're going to be making progress as you go on. Now, if you've got any questions, just put them underneath the video and I will catch you later.